not. And so I was on that and I actually became president,
Oh, cool.
chairman or whatever, one year, and that put me onto the advisory council. I mean, we were finally allowed to pick our own chairman. And I did the mailing labels for our newsletters, and there were 100 of us.
Wow.
Only 100.
Mhm.
I mean, there were thousands of male technical professionals.
And only 100 women.
And there was none in management.
Oh.
We had one section manager. And I think even that was a rotating position.
Yeah.
Scientists generally don't like to do that, so they sometimes have to twist their arms. And we did a survey, and found some problems, and we had meetings with the director, and so now whenever you see, I mean, the Leslie I was talking about,
Yeah.
that's a woman.
Yeah.
I probably said she.
Mhm.
The person who had been project manager was considered to be too soft on the contractor.
Oh.
And so they kicked him upstairs and brought in Leslie. Quite the opposite of the usual stereotypes, right?
Yeah.
And she got it off on schedule, on budget.
Very nice.
And as you can tell from all the press releases, very successful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
So the environment, I never really felt that much in the way of discrimination, except I was told, well, the one, I was told that I might, if I went into this particular section, that I would not be treated well.
Yeah.
And at one point when I was looking for a job, they said, don't go to work for this guy. I mean, when I first started, there were no laws against sexual harassment or sexual discrimination.
Yeah.
I mean, I got turned down by Caltech for graduate school, and I don't remember whether it was the astronomy department or the graduate school that's in writing said a woman had to have a better record to get into their man.
Oh.
Or boy or girl or whatever, female
Yeah.
or male. I don't remember how they phrased it. I mean, that was legal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, there is something to be said for knowing that you're being discriminated against. Now you don't know whether you're being discriminated against because you're a woman or you're being discriminated against because they don't like you. And so anyway, so the environment change. In fact, on MRO, DS1, I was the GDSES engineer, spacecraft engineer, and the test engineer whirlwind. I mean, Leslie was our spacecraft engineer on
So like
DS1.
it improved over time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, and like it's consistent with what the general perception is about.
Yeah, I mean, I was the affirmative action rep, and part of the problem is, the pipe.
Yeah.
And we were always oversubscribed on Asians because the Asians tend to go into the engineering type of things. The blacks and Hispanics, once they were able to go any place, went to law school, medical school, did not go into the engineering. And of course, women were probably still being, to some extent, discouraged. I mean, I'm assuming, and I have checked out with a couple people, that when a male goes into a guidance counselor and indicates he's not really interested in taking the science and math classes, they try to talk him into taking it.
Oh.
I would, if a girl went in and said she wanted to take them, they probably no longer try to argue her out of it.
Yeah.
But my guess is they don't do the same. You really ought to take them to keep your options open.
Yeah.
They accept I don't want to do it. That's kind of where I think we are. I mean, I hope we're at least that good.
Yeah, I hope so.
But when I took my freshman physics class at Cornell, we had 2 women.
Wow.
Whereas in my advanced placement English class, we had, I think, 20 girls and 5 boys.
Wow. I'm in an honors English class, and we get that sort of demographic too.
Yeah, it turned out I didn't belong in there, but that was nice of them that apparently my high school called our English class an advanced placement English class, they didn't require you to take the advanced placement test, and
I took the AP English exam 2 days ago.
oh, and so I ended up getting a full professor for my freshman English
That's cool.
instead of the big lecture.
That's very
lecture.
cool.
We even got to be on a TV program called Meet the Professor.
Ah. So.
And I got to be made up with the powder puff used by one of the old-time male superstars, Tyrone Power.
All right. Well,
Anything else?
I think you've covered a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, a lot of it does
Yeah.
tie in. Sylvia Miller was the mission design navigation person on a couple of my projects,
Mhm.
and Sue Finley. First, when I saw the name, I was thinking of a different Sue, but I'm trying to remember. There was something we were doing that I ended up. I guess it was probably again when our MRO went behind the sun, we were no longer doing Einstein, but we were testing out a new frequency
Mhm.
for communicating that you could go at higher data rates,
Yeah.
and so but it was much more sensitive to actually it was less sensitive to to going through the corona,
Mhm.
since corona. I mean, normally we have to stop commanding for about a month,
Yeah.
and so I think I worked with her when we were planning the K-band, and first time it was beautiful. We were looking at Soho, you know, occulted the sun itself, and so you could see all the things, and we went right in between.
Ooh.
We actually kept, I think we even kept our X-band
Oh.
going for most of the time. The next one wasn't quite so. In fact, I opted to take my vacation, and it was right. Phoenix was expected to die, and so they decided they wanted to keep its telemetry going.
Mhm.
Previously we just turned off all the science telemetry
Yeah.
during that time.
Mhm.
Well, it turned out there was another instrument that also kept going, and we couldn't send down the Phoenix data without sending down their data.
Yeah.
We just had one big recorder, and either with science data, and so you either flipped the switch or you didn't flip the switch. And so it turned out after I got back that we had obviously it turned out Phoenix had died before we even got behind the sun.
Oh.
So we couldn't turn off the science data. But anyway, it had come down scattered, and so, since it was the only data taken, it was still on the spacecraft. And so when I came back, I kept trying to, it was on the ground, but I kept trying to play it back, and we kept having, I hadn't played back, but there were rules that if you get the same product within a certain amount of time, it says, I already delivered that one, and it throws it away.
Mhm.
It doesn't recognize the fact that the one it delivered before was incomplete.
Oh.
And so it took me about 3 times before I finally got David his data, but he was very good about it.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd gone out of my way for him before, so.
Yeah. Mhm. That's good.
So anyway,
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me about this. This is very
I
interesting.
think, yeah, and you seem to be pretty up on some things.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
climate change. You gotta get up on climate change.
yeah, definitely.
That's my issue right now.
Yeah, one of my friends has actually did a seminar on some current issues involving climate change, and I attended that. It was very fascinating.
Just remember, revenue neutral, carbon free, and dividend. No, I mean, everybody's agreed that putting a price on carbon, making the cost include the
Mhm.
damage,
Yeah.
is the most efficient way to get the market
Mhm.
to
Doing
change.
like a carbon
to
tax.
change. Well, we call it a fee because we want it to be revenue neutral and actually be given back to the people. So it's not a tax in that the government doesn't get to keep it,
Okay.
which means Republicans should like it. In fact, we actually have more support from Republicans than we do from Democrats.
It's interesting.
Except for the ones in Congress who refuse to admit that there's such a thing as climate change.
It's a bit ridiculous in my opinion.
Trump just appointed his energy policy guy as one of the frackers
Ah, great.
who thinks that it's a hoax.
Ooh, man, you must be
I
real
mean,
bright.
if somebody were trying to make money,
Mhm.
you don't think they go work for the oil companies?
Yeah.
They pay a lot more than the government does. A lot more than the university